Do you consider yourself as someone who is frugal, thrifty, or a very economical person? That you actually live within the budget? However, despite an increase in your pay or salary a year ago, you check on your savings this year, it's nothing. It didn't increase at all. Have you ever asked yourself where your money is going? Do you ever get confused what you're doing wrong? But despite the frugality, you're still losing money. You're still not saving money. If yes, then this video is for you. So today I'm going to share with you part 1 of 10 money wasters. Yes, that's 10 money wasters. It's a collection of what I've been doing and still trying to fix nowadays and what I observe from other people. Number 1 is trying to buy coffee outside. Imagine having to buy from the local cafes or the big cafes like Glory Jeans and Starbucks. Averagely, a cup would cost you $3.50 a cup. I remember a friend of mine, we just actually met a few weeks ago. I asked her how many times or how many cups does she consume in a day? And she said 3 to 5 cups, otherwise I'm not satisfied at all. So let's take her as an example. I actually created a sample computation in here, assuming that she consumes 4 cups in a day and only 5 days in a week during the time she's working. So if you see from here, 350 by 4 is 14 a day, 14 by 5 is 70 a week, 70 by 4 to get 280 a month, and a staggering $3,360 in a year just for cups of coffee. Ain't that such a huge amount of money? That is an approximate equivalent of 110,000 pesos, Philippine peso. Well, I'm not asking her to actually completely stop. What I actually presented her is if she only cuts the number of cups she drinks in a day by half, by the end of this year, she would buy herself her own posh coffee machine. Not just a $700 machine, but a $2,000 machine that could actually even buy you a commercial one. Now, if you ask me again, I wouldn't actually buy something that is depreciating in value. But because for her, it makes her happy, she could probably buy something that's cheaper and invest the other money that she has saved for something that appreciates in value. Number 2, too much grocery buying. Because you're such a frugal person, you do your groceries once a month to save you from your fuel or your Opal pay for the bus and the train to go and do groceries. You only do it once. Now you do that over and over. Yep, that's a very good practice. However, 2 to 3 years after you decided to clean your pantry and you realize there's a bottle of soy sauce or 3 canned tuna or 7 bags of noodles, they're all expired a year ago. Probably oats with those little creatures or insects in them that you need to throw away. So that's good money that you're actually throwing away. Number 3 is trying to impress people. I remember a friend of mine, her husband is somewhere overseas. She tried to ring me and said, hey, can I borrow this amount of money because my baby is turning 3 months? That actually gets me confused nowadays. What's with 1 month, second month, third month, fourth month? Now, don't get me wrong here, guys. If you have budgeted, I always say this over and over, that if you have allocated a certain amount for this, please go ahead and celebrate the occasion. You'll have the memory, but try to ask yourself sometime as well, will my child really remember this one? She or he will see a picture, but he wouldn't remember it. You will remember, but not them. There's probably a better place to invest that money for the birthday. Instead of the birthday, maybe you could create a bank for them. That's how you celebrate. Or open, I should say, a bank account for your child. That would be something better than wasting money trying to impress other people. Now, another example for this one is we overseas Filipino worker parents, mothers, and fathers. If your children from back home calls you and says, "Hey, mom, dad, could you send me 20,000 pesos? I want to go and celebrate my birthday with 10 of my friends at the Starbucks cafe or Pizza Hut." If you have allocated money for this, please go ahead. If not, please don't ever feel guilty for it. Just talk to them slowly and explain to them that, "Son, daughter, I'm so sorry, but at the moment I'm really struggling. This is all I've got. This is what I'm paid for. And if I have to pay for this birthday celebration of yours, I have to borrow from other people. I have to borrow from my own employer." Stop making them live a fantasy. Get them to realize what is reality. Don't make them live one day millionaire life. Teach them, because there's something wrong with you too. Well, I get it. Sometimes we feel guilty for being away, but that's not it. Children will understand. Only try to explain it to them slowly. Because if you have started that becomes a habit. Every year she or he would ask you, and you end up borrowing over and over. And then you look behind, you've got piles of debts that you have to pay for. Because you've made them live a life that is not a reality. Please, fellow OFWs, try to check this one. Try to understand what I mean with this. Number 4 is the desire to be at par. I see this so many times, even with my colleagues or friends and too many people. What do I mean with the desire to be at par? If you are a nurse or a doctor by profession, then being at par with knowledge is something you need to be able to deliver an outstanding or research-based care for your patients. Now, that's a good use of being at par. However, financially speaking, just to be at par with other people, you try to start buying new things, posh things, like Samsung releases a new one next year, you want to have that. Following year, you want the new iPhone, just because you want to be in. You want to be belonging. You want to belong. You want to be with the trends for today. However, if you don't have money to buy it, then why? You again resort to borrowing. You use probably use something you've saved for another thing, just because you want to belong to the trend. Now guys, stop keeping up with the Jonases. If you are a person who closes their eyes by night and opens it if you open your eyes by the morning and you've got millions in your bank, and that's something that happens every day and every night, then yes, please go ahead, suit yourself and buy anything you want, go to places you want. But mind you guys, even one of the richest person in the world, Warren Buffett himself, doesn't own a screen, we call that one, a touch screen phone. He only owns the keypad ones, the original ones that we've got. And when he was asked why, well, because it still serves the purpose of calling and sending messages. I tell you guys, the only reason I had to change my phone is because it got stolen 5 years after. Number 5, knickknacks. Now, why do I call this knickknacks? When you go to the grocery stores and you're about to pay at the cashier, you see these little things like gums, chocolates, biscuits, and they are flagged at $1 only, 50% off, $2. And they're not on your list, but you start putting them on the stuffs that you are buying or paying for. If you do that every week when you go to the grocery, add that up, and it's a considerable amount of money. If you go to the servo or the gas station, it's the same thing. You have to understand, guys, that this is actually a marketing strategy. We are emotional buyers. Anything that we see under 10, we think it's something that is so cheap. But reconsider what you're doing. $1, $2 adds up over time. Now, just a recap of the first 5 of these 10 money wasters. It's buying coffee outside. There are other ways for you to create your own coffee or prepare your own coffee without having to pay $350. Too much grocery buying. When you try to buy grocery or before you buy your next items the following month, check on what you've left and work around on which meal that you want to prepare so you can use that one. Number 3 is trying to impress people. Please try to live below your means. If you want to have a life that is something you could do to buy whatever you want, or you want to live a life where you can go wherever you want, then start planning your life. Number 4 is the desire to be at par. Stop trying to keep up with the Joneses. Number 5 is little knickknacks. Don't get them. Don't buy them. If you think you want some chocolates, go back to the grocery aisle and buy yourself a bag of it. Then you will save hundreds of dollars in time. See you again next time. I have to cut this because it's such a long video. We've got 5 more for these 10 money wasters. Nevertheless, when I see you next time, it's 6 to 10. That's it for today. God bless and be a blessing.